Hey there, Easy Math students. Welcome to homework number 4, adding integers using the algorithm. So yesterday we were using number lines to figure out how to add integers, and now we're actually going to figure out an algorithm. So integers can be added and subtracted by using an algorithm, which is a fancy word for a set of rules, like a rule. So if you have two values that have the same sign, you're then going to add those values and use the same sign. All right, so like a positive and a positive is going to stay positive. 6 plus 5, they got the same signs, so you just add them up, you keep the positive, it stays positive 11. However, if they're negative and a negative, you're going to get a negative answer. So a negative plus a negative, you just add 6 and 5, you get 11, but you keep the negative sign, negative 11. If the signs are different, then you subtract and take the sign of the number with the greatest absolute value. So this is a kind of confusing way of saying take the sign of the one that you have more of. So 6 plus negative 5, you're actually going to subtract even though you see a plus sign because they have different signs. So 6 minus 5 is 1, and I have more positives, so that's why it's positive 1. Negative 6 plus 5 equals negative 1. Again, they're different signs, so I subtract 6 minus 5, but this time I have more negatives, so therefore my answer is negative 1. I like to think of the rules like this. You've got, if I see like signs, they're both negative, both positive, right? It's going to say same signs, add, keep, SSAK. That's how I quickly remember that. And like this becomes like almost like a direction book for me. So like if I can identify a problem as SSAK, it tells me exactly what to do. If I have same signs, it tells me to add and keep the sign. All right, so 2 plus 5, that's easy, that's 7. And then negative 3 plus negative 7, that's negative 10. Right? Those are all same sign problems. Now, if I see different signs, like one negative and one positive, you will use this acronym. Different signs subtract and keep the sign that has more. Okay, so like negative 4 plus 11, even though you see a plus sign, you're going to subtract because they are different signs. So 11 minus 4 is 7, and it stays positive because there are more positives. And 7 plus negative 9. Again, different signs, so I subtract 9 minus 7. And this time, even though 9 minus 7 is 2, my answer is negative 2 because I had more negatives. I can prove this to you if we do it visually. So like in number 1, you have negative 4 plus negative 4. Well, negative 4 would be 4 negative signs, and negative 4 would be 4 negative signs. So all my negatives, I don't cancel anything out because they're all the same sign. I just count them up. I have 8 negatives, negative 8. Same signs, add, keep. The next one. Notice I have different signs, so that automatically is a different sign, subtract more. So I have 2 positives. I have 7 negatives. Positives and negatives cancel out. See ya, see ya. And what I have left is 5 negatives, so negative 5. All right, again, next one, negative 3 plus 8. Again, those are different signs, so I'm going to subtract and keep the sign that I have more of. Again, don't just get into the pattern of just writing that word. Actually use it. It will tell you exactly what to do. So you have negative 3, so 3 negatives, and 8 positives. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Positive and negatives cancel out, and you are left with 5 positives. And notice your answer is positive because you have more positives. Okay, so we're going to practice a little bit. So in these problems, basically what I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead and solve them, and you'll know if you've solved them if at the bottom all of your answers add up to that sum. All right. So for instance, in column A, I label it the type first. It's a different sign, subtract more, because these are different signs. So I subtract 9 minus 6. I have more negatives. That's why my answer is negative 3. Next one, 4 plus 7, super simple one. They're both positives, same signs, add, keep it. It's 11, keep the positive. Yeah, so it stays positive 11, right? The next one, negative 7 plus 12. Those are different signs, so I subtract 12 minus 7. And my answer is positive 5 because I have more positives. The next one, negative 9 plus 9. Again, those are different signs, so really that becomes 9 minus 9. And there's no such thing as more negatives or more positives when it comes to 0. It's just 0. This is a good example of the additive inverse. Okay, so now what you'll notice is that I'll take all my answers, negative 3, 11, 5, and 0. And I'll add them up. Negative 3 plus 11, that's 8. 5 plus 0, that's 5. 8 plus 5 is 13, which is exactly what I was supposed to get on my sum. All right? So in B, we have different signs, one positive, one negative, so that becomes 7 minus 3. My answer is positive 4 because I have more positives. This one, again, different signs, so I'm going to subtract them. 9 minus 1, that gives me 8, but I have more negatives, so that's negative 8. So there's two questions you always have to ask yourself. What type of signs do you have? And then do you have more positives or negatives, right? Next one, 2 plus negative 6. Again, those are different signs. So I'm going to subtract 6 minus 2, and that's 4, but I have more negatives, so negative 4. Last one, 12 plus negative 3. Again, different signs, so that's going to be 12 minus 3. And this time I have more positives, so it just stays 9. So if I add these up, I'm going to use the commutative property of addition and put like my positives next to each other when I add, and my negatives next to each other when I add. And when I add those up, 4 plus 9, that's 13. And negative 8 plus negative 4, that's negative 12. Add those two together, that's a DSSM, right? And that gets you, sorry, not negative 1, but positive 1. And that's exactly what this sum was supposed to be. I'll do 1 or 2 in row C, and then you're off on the rest. So negative 11 plus 5, that is a DSSM, different sign, subtract more. So 11 minus 5 is 6, but I have more negatives, so negative 6. Negative 5 plus negative 9, that is a same signs add keep. It's same signs because they're both negative. So that is basically just 5 plus 9, which is 14, and you keep the sign, so negative 14. It'll take care of the rest.